So how about that?
Had you never went away, would I feel better anyway? And I mailed letters, did you get them? Would I feel better if you hid them? I don't wanna be your pilot, man. You can go away, you can go away. I don't wanna be your crawler, man. You can go away, you can go away.
Snapchat. Any help? First off, what do you use Snapchat mostly for? What do you think? What's your favorite thing about Snapchat? Why do you use that over Instagram stories?
Because it's like I can send it to one specific person.
You can do that with Instagram stories.
But I feel like I haven't played with Instagram stories enough, and it's not as simple. At least, like, from what I have tried to do with Instagram stories, it's not as simple as just saying, okay, I can double tap on him, send a picture, and then be done.
Interesting. Okay.
But again, I haven't really used Instagram stories that much, so.
I think from talking to people, the general trend is still Instagram, or is still Snapchat over Instagram. And I think part of that is because Snapchat was there first, which is kind of what you said, because people more adapted to what Snapchat looks like. Mm-hmm. And all honesty, Instagram stories are pretty much identical. The one major difference I see right now are filters, and they're doing their beta testing on when you could put links to pictures. Mm-hmm. So like we could say,
yeah.
we could basically put up a picture of us wearing a shirt and then say swipe up. Mm-hmm. And it will link it directly to the website.
But I also don't use Snapchat for putting it to my story. I use Snapchat more for one-on-one conversation, or
I gotcha.
Or because I'm feeling goofy and I send it to 12 people.
Yeah.
I don't usually send any of that stuff to
I think Snapchat's
story.
much more personal than Instagram is.
Mm-hmm. And most of the stuff that I would Snapchat people, I wouldn't put on an Instagram story.
Why?
Because I don't put it on my Snapchat story.
Nice. I think another thing that I really like about Snapchat is it has filters. Mm-hmm. And all these things are just a matter of time before one or the other gets it. So I think it's only a matter of time before Snapchat integrates you can swipe up and link your stuff. I think it's only a matter of time before Instagram puts in the dog filters and all that nonsense. So the real question I really wanted to ask was, do you think that we are using Snapchat right, or using it enough right now?
I think so. I mean, you can always use it more, but I think you've been trying to do that. And so I mean, you have been using it more. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think some people really like that, because if they followed me on Snapchat, they see they see stuff before it goes on the building a brand, and then they watch building a brand, and they're like, oh, I saw that earlier this week. It's almost like a behind the scenes kind of preview.
A little bit, yeah.
For when we're actually doing stuff. The other thing is, do you think that we should make the Snapchat We Are PR instead of leaving it just as my name?
No. I mean, I don't know. Part of me thinks that, like, keeping it as, like, your personal Snapchat is kind of cool. Like,
because it's more personal kind of thing?
Yeah. I mean, because I feel like if you put everything as, like, We Are PR, then even, like, I don't know, people feel like they're almost getting a behind the scenes look when they can follow your personal one.
So you think it's more emotional?
I feel like
more emotionally tied to just like an individual person.
Mm-hmm. And if they feel like they're just following a business, it's only going to send out occasional snaps where you're only going to get anything about how we print a shirt. It's not going to be as cool, even if that's not what you're intending on putting on there. that's the mind frame. Well, why would I want to follow them? All they're ever going to put on there is this, and this. Whereas if they follow you, they'll get some business stuff, some real life stuff, because people are interested in what, like, you do outside of it as well.
Yeah.
Which is why I think it kind of helps to do that.
So do we keep on? So right now we're running Snapchat and Instagram stories. Mm-hmm. Do you think there should be a differentiator between the two?
What do you mean?
Do you think certain things should go on Snapchat and certain things should go on Instagram stories? I've been trying to keep the Instagram stories like more printing and like business related.
Uh-huh.
And I've been trying to keep the Snapchat more like goofy stuff. Not goofy stuff, but like stuff that goes on with like our lives.
I don't feel like you should like necessarily intentionally keep it separate. I mean, I think it's one of those things where it's like if you post something on...
Well, the other thing I don't want to do is post the exact same thing to Snapchat and Instagram.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't necessarily be redundant like that.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like, if you occasionally put something up that's more personal to us on Instagram, there's no harm in doing that.
Yeah.
Or doing more of a business-focused Snapchat for a week or something like that. Like, that kind of thing. That's nothing saying that you can't do a little bit of both on either one. But it doesn't have to be all the time either. You can make it so it's like, okay, in this week I'm going to flip-flop. I'm going to try and do it the opposite. So that way it's, you know, if someone doesn't follow you on Snapchat, they can see, like, hey, this is kind of what I typically do on Snapchat. Mm-hmm. But...
Yeah, I've been trying to take like little snippets from snaps and put them on Facebook and Twitter, just as like a Snapchat saw it first.
Like a
so if you want to
teaser,
almost, it's almost like a personal branding thing.
Mm-hmm.
What else? Oh, I remember. How do we step up the Snapchat game even more? Besides posting more content and more like little snippets in our lives, how do you think we go about bringing more people into that? Like we could do a sale and put a promo code on Snapchat, and you have to be following us to get the promo code, kind of thing. But I don't know. I'm still kind of struggling with driving more traffic to Snapchat besides flat out saying, come follow us on Snapchat.
Yeah.
Because I'm trying to give people a reason to follow us on Snapchat.
Yeah. I mean...
Do you think that we push anything else besides just what we've been doing and showing an insight to our lives?
I think I think... You keep posting, like, occasional, like, funny videos of... Or, like, highlight reel material, whatever you want to call it.
Mm-hmm.
Of what you've done on Snapchat to Facebook to Instagram to whatever, and you use those as like little like promos kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
You can do like you can edit photos that say like to see more of like this kind of funny, goofy, whatever.
Yeah.
Aspect of what we're doing, all us on Snapchat. You can kind of run it like an ad, but at the same time, like, you don't want to push that you have to do this in order to buy this product kind of thing. Like, I don't feel like that's the best way to do it.
Yeah. Because I think people come to Snapchat. The reason I have watched people on Snapchat is to see what they're doing, because it's more of like a real time, like here's what's actually happening in their life as we talk kind of thing. And that's what I don't want to get away from. Yeah, because, I mean, you don't want it to be so, like, fake and set up. That's not why people want to go and watch people's Snapchats. They want to watch people's stories on Snapchat because they're friends with them. They want to see what they're doing. So you don't think we should...
They're hanging out with.
So you don't think we should push any product or anything like that through Snapchat?
Not that you can't, like, show people product and stuff like that, but I wouldn't use it as a selling tool because it's not what people are going there for.
Yeah.
They're going there to see, like, what dorky thing you're filming that I'm doing or vice versa.
Yeah.
Like,
podcast.
Okay.
What do you think about them? Do you know what a podcast is?
Yes.
Okay. What do you think about them?
I think... that they're useful, but a lot of people that do them have like very specific topics that they're trying to talk about.
Mm-hmm. The reason why I bring it up is, as I'm in the gym and I watch people doing cardio, and people just about everywhere they go, they've got headphones in. They're always listening to something, music or audio of some sort. Now there's a time and place for YouTube videos, I think, because that's becoming more of like a TV, if you will. If you always go in and you see what people have uploaded daily. But I think there's also, I think we can capitalize a lot more if we tried something with more of like an audio approach.
Mm-hmm. I think if you wanted to do it, you'd have to have like a really planned out like game plan for it, so that way you don't catch yourself rambling about things. Like, it's fine if you have like certain points you want to hit and you're expanding on those and you get caught up in like
Something else.
in a discussion about something else, as long as it's relevant and as long as you can pull it back into what the podcast is about. Because if it's just you talking to talk, then people are going to be like, well, what am I even listening to this for? You'd have to have like...
And I think you can get to that point eventually. I think if you build up...
Yeah.
If you build up a base of people that enjoy listening to you, and because I think what this does is you can show your personality a lot through this.
You can. I just think like starting out, you have to have like a good game plan of what you're going to talk about, certain points you're going to hit, the point you're trying to make, whether it's motivation or learning about something or something like that. Like, you have to have an end goal with it, so that way you actually have
an end goal,
good talking points throughout it.
Oh, you mean for like the specific episode or whatever.
Yeah. And then from there you can spin off, you can do little discussions in between, like within it, but ultimately it should have a good rounded basically purpose to the podcast.
Okay.
Because or else people are gonna like, I don't know, it's easier with like a video because they can be watching and not really listening, and you'll still have them engaged.
It's more visual. Mm-hmm. It's more visual.
Right. But with audio, it's all about what you're saying. So if you find yourself just rambling about something that has nothing to do with what you told them the podcast was going to be about, then they're going to be like, why am I even listening to this? And turn it off.
Do you think podcasts are something we should... I'd at least like to look into it and try it. So maybe sometime this week, we try recording something. We just see how it goes. Mm-hmm. And I don't know where... I think to start off with, I'd probably just do YouTube, put it up there, because I'm not really sure. I know you can do it through iTunes. I know there's a lot of other different kind of podcast place for it. Mm-hmm. But I think I would at least like to explore the option, because I think there is. I think there's a group of people that we can capture with that. Yeah. I think we can spread the word more with that, because people always have their headphones in. Or you can be listening to it while you're doing something else. Yeah. Because with a video, you have to be fully engaged with the video. You're watching it. It's an audio and a visual experience. With just the audio, you can be working. You can be doing your... whatever your grind is, doing whatever you need to do. But on the backside of that, you can still have that going. Yep. And I'd at least like to try it, just to see what it looks like. But I don't know, like, I don't have like a time, like, because like our building a brand episodes usually hover between 10 to 20 minutes long. Mm-hmm. I don't know if we would make the audio like longer. I know some people have like a very established, like, we do an hour-long podcast a week.
I think it would depend on the topic. If you wrote out a good amount of like talking points that you wanted to get through, and it ended up being 30 minutes long, that would be fine. And
I think the first one we do is we're obviously going to learn a lot from it.
Yeah.
And we're going to figure out if that's a path we want to keep going down, and how frequently we want to do it. Because that'll be based off the response that we get from people.
Right. I mean, but podcasts are more, like, people listen to podcasts more for, like either the story that they're telling or like, informative kind of stuff, I feel like, don't they?
Yeah, I think you'd have to deliver some sort of value with it.
Yeah, so it shouldn't just be, like, a running commentary on what we did this week kind
No,
of thing.
no, because that's what this building a brand is.
Right. So it would have to be almost like one of your newsletters where it's either about, like, how to get the motivation to do something or how to execute on something or...
Fighting through setbacks, something like
yeah,
that.
through, like,
So
those kinds of things.
It'd almost be like a longer form topic then.
Yeah. It'd be something that you can...
It's more of an open-ended question.
Yeah, or, like, something that you can challenge people with to say, okay, during your week this week, like, try to do these 3 things when you're working toward your goals.
Mm-hmm.
Or something like that. Like, talk about those sorts of things that enable you to execute on your goals and then challenge them to do or implement a few of those things in the next 2 or 3 weeks and see where they end up. Like,
yeah,
present the information and then present it in a way that they can actually try and use it and see if it helps.
So sometime this upcoming week, I guess this week, I would like to at least explore the option. See if we can whip out an episode.
Yeah.
Because there's not a lot to it. You sit and record yourself talking for however long you get through your topics.
Right.
There's not a whole lot of editing that goes into it. I think it's pretty straight up.
Yeah.
So I don't think it takes a lot of effort. I think it's more of the effort it comes in is your personality that comes out through it and then the topics that you're going to cover.
Yeah, the pre-planning.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and that's how it is with the building a brand and everything.
Yeah.
I mean, here's the actual filming and the editing of the building a brand really doesn't take all. I mean, it does take some time, but a vast majority of the time is spent figuring out how to deliver it to people.
Mm-hmm.
How to make it visually appealing, how to share it through different channels, how to get more eyes on it. I think is where a majority of the work comes in at.
Yeah.
So, with that being said, I'd like to try that sometime this week and see if we can have an episode. Maybe not. We don't even set it up as an episode. Maybe we just set it up as this is us trying it out kind of thing. But I feel like if you set it up as an episode, you're almost promising there's going to be an episode 2, 3, whatever.
Yeah.
Because like with this, it's like this is episode 8. There's going to be a 9. There's
Yeah.
going to be a 10. There's going to be an 11.
Yeah.
But I don't know. We'll just play with it this week.
Okay.
Deal?
Yeah.
Well, this was a little bit different. It was, I didn't show as much, like, actual screen printing stuff as we typically do in this building a brand, and I don't know, I kind of like it. It's a little bit different. I felt like we were getting too much in the exact same pattern of just seeing the exact same thing every single week, week in and week out. Yeah, I mean, that stuff still happened, and I still did all of it. We just didn't. I'm just trying to switch up these building of brands a little bit, which is why I kind of threw in these discussions that we had, because that's more of the branding side of this, is why I tried to focus on this week. Instead of actually the execution and doing things this week, I really wanted to focus on kind of our thought process of how we're moving forward with things like Snapchat, how we could move forward with something that we've never done before, like a podcast or some sort of very long-form media. We're going to have that podcast. I don't know when it's going to be out this week, but I'm going to record it. I don't even really know what the topic's going to be about. So if you have a topic you'd like for us to discuss or anything in length, please leave it down below. And I'll put it in consideration for the podcast possibly later this week.